Hello, my name is Van Morris. Welcome to the premiere episode of Van the Funeral Man. Now, you may be wondering, how in the world did I come up with that title? Well, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I've served as a pastor for 30 years. I'm retired now. I've also been serving and currently serving as a chaplain. And in addition to all of that, I'm also a funeral officiant. I've officiated over 1,800 funerals and counting. So that's how I ended up with the moniker Van the Funeral Man. So all of that doesn't make me an expert in matters of life and death, by no means, but it does mean that I do have a considerable amount of experience in the subject. So my goal on this channel is to help you focus on death awareness. Some also say death anxiety, but just to put it under the heading of all things pertaining to death. Now, I understand you might be saying, I don't like to think about death at all. Well, I don't either. But not thinking about it will not eliminate death's reality. I've heard it put this way, and I think it fits pretty well. Imagine being at a picnic, and you're there with all of your family and your friends. It's a wonderful day, and you don't want it to end. But off in the distance, you notice there's a storm cloud, and it seems to be headed in your direction. But you decide, I'm going to ignore it, go on with my life, and enjoy my time. But then, a short time later, you look up, and the storm cloud is right over you. And it arrives, and it rains out all of your joy. Well, that's death. You know, you can ignore it, but eventually it arrives. So I want to help convince those who live as if they are immortal to understand that they are indeed mortal. And so let me give you an example of some of the topics that we're going to cover in upcoming videos. For example, we're going to answer the question, why do people die? We'll discuss our appointment with death. We'll even talk to parents who have children as to how to talk with your children about the difficult subject of death. We'll talk about funeral planning. We'll even talk about choosing songs, selecting songs for a funeral. We'll talk a little bit about what can happen at a funeral. There's things that can happen at a funeral. You're just visiting a funeral, and there's things that can happen. Also, how do we live every day if indeed we're going to die? We'll talk about these things and a whole lot more. But today, before we wrap up, I just want to ask you to do one thing. This is one thing that you can do right now. Is to ask yourself, do I have a philosophy of life that can face death with hope? Just take some time to think that through today, all right? And ask yourself, can I trust my philosophy of life? Everybody has a philosophy of life, but can it face death with hope? So examine that today. 5 days before boarding the Titanic, a man named Colonel Archibald Gracie wrote a letter to his friend. And in the letter, it said this, "It's a fine ship, but I shall wait until my journey's end before I pass judgment on it." Now, what I want to say to you today is we must not wait till our journey's end. Or another way of saying that is we must not wait until our death to pass judgment on or to test our philosophy of life. We must do that now. And so that's something you can do today. Now, if this all sounds like something you might be interested in hearing more about, please hit the subscribe button and join me for some future videos. So for now, I'm Van the Funeral Man, living with hope in life and in death.